All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier eye hypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. So, today's pod is definitely an inspired moment. Just a little while back, I was, taking a time, literally taking time off, and something that I usually do not do in the week, but from time to time, I check in on uh, the shorts that are on YouTube just to see what's out there. And I came across a very interesting, a collab that some of you may have heard of. This businessman, entrepreneur called Simon Squibb. And he is somebody who, literally stops people on the road and says, "Hi, what's your dream?" And it was interesting to watch this little clip because I've been watching his clips now for some time, maybe give or take at least about a year. And this is an interesting one because he has literally tied up with a very well-known entrepreneur based out of Dubai, if memory serves me right. And what was interesting was that it all sort of like goes back to the premise of today's pod, which is the power of asking. And I think that's one area which, for the longest time, it's definitely been a struggle of mine. Asking for help, um, you know, asking who can uh, be of assistance or who can really help me at different points on my journey, especially over these last 2 decades. The flip side, of course, of starting early is that you get to a space even before it becomes a market. And of course, when we're talking about personal development in India, this is something that has been on a very, very slow burn. But the good news is, of course, and especially post COVID, that now, more and more people are starting to open up to the idea of discussing freely in communities, challenges that they have, mental illness, or let's say, you know, dealing with stress, anxiety, uh, panic disorders, and different labels, of course, that get thrown around. But the good news, of course, is that people are starting to learn to speak this language. And what I loved about watching that video, and I was inspired, and whether this becomes that video or whether I record a separate video. Um, so Simon, as I said, has tied up with a very famous. I think he goes by the name of the Aquaman. So this is what the this is what ChatGPT and of course YouTube gave me as information. So Simon Squibb and the Aquaman, they've tied up, and of course the Aquaman is the owner of the biggest water park in the world. And so they've tied up together, and what they're basically doing is that they are looking to support people, people who are in the space of education and health. And what caught my eye was where he said, "Helping people help people." So I think if I was to send this as an entry, because for those of you who have been tuning in, you know that I do this daily pod literally for almost 3 years now, every single day. And apart from obviously the initial, um, when I was just getting used to the format, but other than that, pretty much for at least 2 years, every single day I've been showing up and I've been doing this pod. So I definitely, had that, whether you call it the light bulb moment or, catching lightning in a bottle. Um, it just sort of got me curious. It's like, hey, you know what? What if I record today's daily pod and blend it with this? Now, whether this reaches them or not, whether this is seen by them or not, whether this wins that entry, because there is a so basically, both of them have put up, $10,000 each, and so the winner of this contest will get that 20,000, and I'm sure there will be, a team to back the winner so that that person's dream can come true and be made to come true. So as I said, all of this has literally happened in probably the last like 15 or maybe 20 minutes. And so, as I was anyway getting ready to record my daily pod, and as a lot of you know, I record this pod typically just before I go to bed. And this is one way in which I've ensured that this habit of being consistent, this habit of showing up, and this habit of, creating content for other people so that can inspire them, especially, healers and coaches, because you know that I myself have been on this journey now for a little over 2 decades. And um, what started as an intention and became a dream and has now literally become more and more of a reality, where we're at that point today where we have a community, and people are truly beginning to get the benefits of not only experiencing the power of their own unconscious mind, but they're able to now apply this, the learnings, and also the power of being in this community, and go out and make a difference in their own micro communities. So as I said, this is more of just an inspired moment. Whether this makes it to the entry or not, um, I could definitely say that something I heard years ago, that the challenge is show up every day and record a video, and miracles happen. And I know for a fact that if I had not started, when I did, literally closer to now 3 years, there's no way I would have reached this point and just said, hey, you know what, this is probably going to be the topic for today's pod. So definitely, when this video goes up, it may or may not be the typical format, but again, as I said, these pods are for you, especially if you are a healer coach and you've been struggling with um, all the difficulties that we have, especially when we're getting started, whether it is creating content, whether it is showing up, whether it is following through, because the hard part, the difficult part has already been done, meaning that you have been able to obviously um, recognize that you have passion and that you have this dream that you want to be able to help other people, whether it's in the space of healing or coaching. And as when I say I'm India's premier eye hypnosis healer coach, the emphasis is on healer coach because eventually you will be doing a combination of both. So for you, um, as I said, this video is always designed for you so that this can be that reminder that, hey, you know what? Show up, make that video. It may not be perfect, the lighting may not be perfect, your mood may not be perfect, but just show up and record and share what you're going through, share what you're dealing with, or share like this, this video. And who knows who will watch this? Who knows what this video can do for them? And, as I always say, it's even if one person is benefited from this, then it's mission accomplished. And everything else beyond that is truly our blessings that we get to be able to receive. And as we show up every single day, we just get better and better at this. So I think as I'm starting to wrap this video up, one is of course a shout out to Simon Squibb. If you're watching this, thank you for that offer that you made, and Aquaman, to you as well. And of course, for those of you who are on the journey, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If there's any way in which I can help you, especially if you are a healer, if you're a coach and you've just begun this journey, I know that a lot of us were inspired through all the difficulties of COVID, literally, almost 5 years to the day. And for most of us, our lives have never been the same. So if you're somebody that's looking for community, that is precisely what I've been building. Initially it was building in private because back in the day, there was a lot of secrecy. People didn't talk about their mentors, didn't talk about where they got their secret sauce. But today, our world has changed. And the more we're able to share, the more we're able to grow, the more we're able to inspire others to also, pick up that light and go out and make a difference in the world. So um, you will also, of course, be able to see the link to join our community, which is there not only on Instagram, but also on our YouTube channel. So come join us. And as some of you may already know, we meet on Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This is, of course, a free membership where you get to come meet me live, come meet our members, interact, and really experience the power of your unconscious mind, and be able to refuel as you go out, being the best version of you. That's the healer and the coach that is already inside of you. And of course, we have many different programs, and we're creating more and more as this year progresses. So, you know, it's because of you, honestly, then truly, that I create this content, that I've discovered, finally discovered my online. We all have this, gratitude journal, or we're told to do journal writing. For me, this form of journal writing and this form of reflection on a daily basis, I discovered because of you, because somewhere I was like, hey, you know what? Let me just show up each day and record a live. And here we are today recording something like this, which is beyond what we normally do, what I normally create on a daily basis. So a big thank you to you. And if you happen to see this, you're more than welcome to share this with friends and of course, fellow coaches and healers who you feel will be benefited by this content. So, having said all of that, of course, remember to live your purpose. God bless, and of course, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.